What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are in the garage and I'm going to show you how to repurpose some of your plastic baits, or if you pour some of your own stuff, how to reutilize some of those bad pours or those bad colors that you made up. I just got some new do-it molds, and I got one for making Ned rig baits, and I got a small swim bait. Both awesome baits. I know I'm going to catch fish on those plastics that I pour myself. And I want to show you how you can repurpose some of your own plastics that you might just go through on your own fishing, or if you pour your own baits and you end up making a color that you just don't like and you don't know what to do with that plastic. I'm going to show you something that you can do to reuse that plastic so you're not just throwing it in the trash, reusing it, maybe diluting the color because it's too dark or something like that. So I'm going to show you what happened with me and how I came up with some good colored baits. So these are the colored baits that I'm going to make for you guys today. Pretty cool little green color. They started off a nasty, dark watermelon green pumpkin, almost to the point where they were black. Couldn't see hardly any of the flake in them. Just bad color. I put way too much color into my plastic, and I'm going to show you how I took those, repurposed them, and came out with something that looked like this. So what we're doing right now is we're taking these plastics right here, this really dark green color. I don't know how it's going to come through for you guys on the video, but it's a real nasty dark green color. A little bit of purple flake that you can't see because it's so dark. But what I'm trying to do is take these ones right here and turn them into these ones right here. I've done it already, so I'm going to show you the process that I used in order to do that. So one of the first things that we need to do is we need to prep our plastic. This is the plastic that I'm using today. I've already shaken it up, gotten it all ready for you guys to put into the glass cup to start microwaving, getting it nice and hot. So we're gonna do that right now. I'm not a plastic expert by any means, but I did figure this out, and I figured it was something that you guys might be interested in. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a half of a cup of plastic in here, so basically 4 ounces. What we're gonna do next is we're just gonna start and microwave this. We're just gonna put it in the microwave like so. And what I like to do is start off for about 1 minute and 30 seconds with the microwave that I have. So what we're gonna do is just let that heat up. It starts a process of getting the plastic to turn over and start to get into, it basically does a chemical reaction, I guess, that really starts to get this plastic into something that you can start to make baits with. And if you guys have been following my content for very long, you know I drink a lot of energy drinks. Maybe it's not healthy, whatever, but this is one of the things that I do. And I saw at 7-Eleven the other day, they had these ones. I think it's a 7-Eleven brand, but they were buy one, get one free, so I took advantage of that, and they're actually not too bad. So I just want to throw that out there for you guys. Okay, so we're gonna check our plastic. It's not too hot yet, but the next one I'm gonna have to definitely put my gloves on. So I'm just gonna stir it up just a little bit, and it's not ready to be doing anything with, but I like to stir it about halfway through. I'm gonna put that back in there for about another 1.5 minutes, and I'm using the clear because I want to dilute the colors that I was using before and get them into a better green color, kind of similar to this color right here. That's what we're going for today, and we'll let this heat back up. Okay, so it's been in about 1 minute. I'm gonna check it real quick because I don't want to overheat it. But as you can see, it's a lot more clear now than the last time I got my gloves on. It's doing pretty good. I'm gonna check the temperature on it. We want it to be around 350 degrees. I need to get one of those infrared thermometers because they're better for doing this stuff. I get an instant measurement, but this is what I got for now. So stick that guy in there and let's see what our temperature's at. Okay, so it's definitely not up to 350 degrees. So what I'm gonna do now though is take some of these bad pours, this color right here, this ugly green color. I already know that I need about 4 of these because I've already kind of messed around with this a little bit, and I'm gonna start putting them in there. So I got 4 of those in there, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna stir it all up. So that way when I put this back in here, it's gonna start to melt down those green ones as well while it's heating everything else up. And that's going to dilute that bad color and give me something that I like a little bit better. So I just took it out of the microwave and just want to show you how it's kind of starting to melt down those old plastics and give me a little green color inside my cup. Just going to keep doing that. I'm definitely going to have to put this back in the microwave at least one more time. And that's probably mixed up good enough for right now. But as you can see, it's starting to get much better green color in there. So what we're using are these molds right here. These are the 3-inch Ripper CNC molds from Do It Molds. They're really cool swim baits. I'm really liking them a lot. They're a little bit more expensive than the ES series, the Essential series, but those are still great options for guys that want to get started with this, or gals that want to get started with this stuff. Okay, so our plastic's looking pretty good. Stir it up one more time before we take our injector out. And I'm going to put it on this thing to angle it so it gives it an angle and I can get a better amount of plastic instead of having to keep it flat. It'll just help because we don't have a ton of plastic in there. So I got our injector. We're going to suck up this plastic just like so. Probably don't need an entire injector worth of plastic, but we got enough to do our 2 swim baits. So we're going to put it down there. Just gently push down like so. Go over to the next one. Gently push down. Fill up the cavities, like so. And those should turn out pretty darn good. As you can see right now, that color up on top, that's a pretty good color. So we'll see how these things turn out here in a second. Okay, so what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna open up this mold, see how our swim baits turned out, give you an idea on how that color turned out, where it came from, where it's at now. So we're just gonna open it up. And as you can see, we got a nice green color right there. Mimic a bluegill pretty good. And then here's our second one right here. Pull it out for you guys. Pretty good color. So I decided to take these outside to hopefully give you a better look at what this color turned out to be. A much better color. It's a lot lighter. It's a much better bluegill imitation. The other ones were just too black and it wasn't anything translucent to it, like you can see in the tail right here. But overall, I think that that's a great bluegill imitation. It would be a great Ned rig bait as well, so I might make up some of those too. Okay, so here's our next mold right here. This is the Midwest Finesse mold from Do It Molds. This is gonna give us a Ned rig bait, and I think you guys are gonna like the way this color turns out. I think it'd be a great clear water color. Okay, so it looks like our plastic's good to go. So again, I'm gonna put it up on this angle so that way I can get as much plastic as possible. I don't know that I have enough plastic in there to make all 8 baits that are in this mold, but I'm gonna suck up as much of it as I can and see what ends up happening. If I can get an entire injector full, that'll be great, but I don't think I'm going to. So we'll see how many I get. Just gently push down. Oh, I might have gotten a full thing. We'll see. So while the camera was off, I had to add a little bit more plastic to the sprue up there because if you're not familiar with pouring your own plastics, the sprue will actually suck down as it's drawing in more plastic. So I had to add some in there, and that's just something you got to do. It's better if you can keep the plastic nice and hot while you're doing it. But as you can see, you might be able to see it's already sucked down in there even more again. But I'll open this thing up here in a second. We'll see how these plastics turned out. Okay, so I think our plastics are ready to open. So we're gonna check them out, see how they turned out. And I think they turned out really, really good. I think that's a pretty awesome color for some Ned baits. I'm gonna take them out of there and show you what they look like in the sun. Okay, so that's what they look like out here in the sun. It's a pretty good green pumpkin, dark watermelon color. That'll definitely work well on tough situations where you need, you know, those natural colors, clear water, stuff like that. I think that's a great color. I think it turned out really, really good. So I just want to give you guys a glimpse of what these molds look like on the inside. As you can see, this is the Midwest Finesse mold. It's a CNC mold. produces really great baits. I can't wait to get out there and fish some of these baits that I just made up. And these are the 3-inch ripper molds, the CNC molds as well. I'm really happy with how these baits are turning out. Can't wait to catch some fish on these as well. And this is the 3-inch ripper mold from the Essential series. This is a cheaper mold. It's cast aluminum rather than the CNC. It's cheaper, but this is a great way to get started into making your own baits. I've made a couple baits already using this mold, and they turn out pretty darn good, especially for the price point that you get on this mold itself. So this is a great way to introduce yourself into making your own plastics. So before we end this video, I'm going to be making up some more, and I'm going to be using the Essential series mold as well, so I can give you guys a good picture of what those baits turned out like in the Essential series compared to the CNC. Okay, so our plastic is ready to go. So I'm going to take my injector, fill it up just like so. We're going to take it over to the Essential series, which is this one. Pour it on in. Go to the other side. Pour it on in. Okay. Then we're going to take our other injector. Put this up here so I can get that angle. Suck up as much of the plastic as we can. And then we're going to go over here, do some Ned worms. Okay, so I didn't have enough plastic to do the other set of rippers, but we will here in a second. So while these things are all cooling down inside the molds, I want to show you all the little bit of the mess that I make when you're moving these injectors around, pouring these baits. Don't worry about all that. This stuff's super easy to clean up. It just cleans up on its own. There's some down there on the table. Basically, once it all hardens up or it cools down and it's typical, you know, plastic bait consistency, all you got to do is just collect it with your fingertips. Just make sure it's cooled down first, and you can throw it back in your cup and continue on pouring and not wasting any of that plastic. See how these turned out? Open it up. And I think these turned out really good too. We got one bad pour in there. Get rid of that guy. And then those turned out really good. Really good. Have to just re-pour that one, but otherwise we got a pretty good color right there. Okay, so I think these things are ready to go. So we're gonna open it up. I didn't have enough to do the CNC rippers, so we'll see how these Ned baits turned out. Let's get these clamps off and then open it up and see how they turned out. Those turned out really good. Really good. So while the camera was off, made a few extra baits, but this is everything that we've made repurposing those plastics that were bad pours. I think I did a pretty good job, especially since I'm pretty new to all this plastic pouring and stuff like that. If anybody wants to pick up any of these, just make sure you contact me via email, Facebook, Instagram, something like that. If you want to buy any of these baits that I made up, just let me know and we can figure out all the details. So really hope you enjoyed this video. Appreciate you watching. Really hope you enjoyed learning how to repurpose some of your own plastics. The molds in the video were dual molds. Plastic I was using was the Soft Baits regular formula from Dual Molds. They got great products, a lot of different options for you if you're starting off getting into pouring plastics, or if you just want to repurpose the used baits that you use day in, day out when you go fishing. But nevertheless, you can reuse that plastic and not just throw it in the trash. So try, you know, making up your own colors, doing that. It's hard to be consistent with it, but you can get pretty darn close to what you're looking for and pretty darn close to being able to repeat those colors over and over again. You're gonna have a little bit of inconsistencies, but that's just part of the game. but it's better than wasting those baits and wasting that plastic. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like the video, please comment and subscribe to my channel. And once again, I got more for you guys coming, so stay tuned. Thanks again.